Hello there, and welcome to a very special live stream from Curve Games. My name is Colm. I'm one of the community managers here at Curve, and it is a great honour and privilege to say that this year we've been involved in Yogscast's Jingle Jam. We had a few of our games in the Jingle Jam games bundle, but today it is a delight to say that Curve has partnered with WDC, the Whale and Dolphin Conservation, and I knew I couldn't do this live stream alone, so I have brought on somebody to help me as we play some I Am Fish. But before I introduce my friend, I do want to give you a little bit of background and an overview on WDC. So take a look at this short little video first, and then I will introduce the person who will be joining me on today's live stream.
We believe that whales and dolphins have rights. The right to swim where boats don't injure them. The right to swim wild, in clean, natural, noise-free waters. The right to swim free, not to be trapped in fishing nets. The right to be free, not held captive for human entertainment. The right to live, not to be hunted. The right to exist as nature intends, not as humans decide. If you believe in these rights, then you would be right to join us.
So yes, joining me today from the WDC, the main man, in fact, it is the one and only Mr. Chris Butler-Stroud. Hello, Chris.
Afternoon, Colin. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you as well. It is a great honour to have you here because you will obviously be able to speak more cogently and more knowledgeably on the subject. But I wanted to get you on to for this live stream that we wanted to do to raise money for WDC. And before I go any further, you can see I feel all Graham Norton. You can see the address underneath me here, tiltify.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC. If you go to that URL, you will be able to donate to WDC. So please do, if you can. Any donation is much appreciated for this great cause. But before we begin playing I Am Fish, and I will say I am terrible at the game, so feel free to take the mick, Chris. There's no problem there. Could you tell the people at home a little bit about WDC and the work that you do?
Yeah, no, thank you, Colin. So Whale and Dolphin Conservation has been around now for about 30 years. We were founded actually in somebody's back bedroom by a 16-year-old who wanted to do something to protect these remarkable creatures. And he got the organization off and going. He actually quickly then got recruited to Greenpeace and headed up some of their Antarctic fleets that went down to intercept Japanese whaling back in the late 80s. And then WDC's started off really as an organization that was trying to help conservationists and those who wanted to protect whales and dolphins in developing countries. So projects which weren't that sexy, but there were young people who were trying to do the right thing, but just couldn't attract the funding. So ourselves as an organization stepped in and started connecting with those individuals and building them up. And that's part of the philosophy of the organization, really, which is if we're going to do something to protect this planet and protect these remarkable creatures, you have to empower others. You have to enable others in local communities to take control and take forward the conservation that they can do themselves. So as an organization, we started to grow. We got involved with issues like whaling. We got involved with investigating the issue of captivity and captive display, and decided really these remarkable creatures weren't suitable for that. We expanded into things like bycatch, so protecting whales and dolphins from the incidental capture in nets. And like most things, fishers who are involved in this really don't want to catch whales and dolphins in their net. They want to avoid it. And we found cooperating with fishermen around the world, and also then trying to make sure policy works, we've been making some significant advances. We also work in the area of protected areas for whales and dolphins. How do you create the science? How do you create the infrastructure so that people can have workable and solid marine protected areas? And all of that is underpinned by two philosophical pillars. One is, what are the role of whales and dolphins in the ocean? And this is an amazing area we call green whale, where whales and dolphins are moving nutrients around. That's leading to more phytoplankton, which means we have more carbon dioxide being absorbed by the ocean. Turns out the ocean is an incredible ally in our battle in the climate crisis. The other pillar that underpins this as well is about the intrinsic rights of whales and dolphins. We always knew that they were special, but now we're beginning to understand the science of what's going on in their brains, how these creatures are communicating, and the incredible social complex structures. So if you have a population of orcas like this, we know that you can't afford to lose, say, even one of the females at any stage, because of how much knowledge is in those senior females' brains, and that they're passing on to the groups there. So those two pillars underpin all of that work that we do outside to try and protect whales and dolphins. And we're working around the world now as we've grown and developed. We're still small and lean, but we think that makes us effective. And so it's great because we're getting support from organizations like Curve, who've been brilliant at backing WDC to go out there and do the job that needs to be done.
Well, I mean, it's a fantastic cause, and it's one that I know I speak for all of Curve when I say that we're delighted to support WDC in any way we can, including by playing video games poorly, which is what we're going to do now in just a moment. But yeah, once again, before I move over to the game, please head to tiltify.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC to donate to WDC. Any donation at all, if you can, is greatly appreciated. I will also we have a few videos that we want to show throughout the stream today, which we'll get to, but first, yeah, look, let's oh god, this is going to be terrible, Chris, but let's see. I don't know, I'm going to be confident. Maybe I won't be so bad. So I thought, why not start at the very beginning, level 1 of I Am Fish. Yeah, I mean, as I say, I'm not entirely confident. I think it might go all right. But if you don't know, I Am Fish, developed by Bossa Games, came out a couple of months ago now. And in it, you play as 4 different fish. There's the goldfish, the flying fish, the puffer fish, and goldfish, flying fish, puffer fish, and piranha. That's right. Yeah, piranha's probably my favourite. But we're going to start off by playing as the goldfish. As I say, each fish has sort of its own individual powers. They're not superheroes, but kind of abilities. And the goldfish is probably the most, it being the starting character, is the most simplistic. So it's probably the one that I will have the least trouble with, or at least that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, let's. Do you know what? I'm just going to.
Let's be optimistic.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know if you've played it before, Chris, but you have to. It's one of the more challenging games that you're likely to play, I Am Fish. But in saying that, also incredibly rewarding, because effectively, when you as the goldfish in this bowl, you have to sort of control the momentum of the bowl, which I mean, I've seen speedrunners completing this game in I think like an hour, and probably within the time frame of this live stream. Like somebody who knew what they were doing probably would be able to complete it. That's not going to happen today. I'll try my best, but I really don't think it's going to happen.
But it must be, it's amazing, isn't it? The physics that goes into even just designing the momentum of the engine that's controlling as you go forward.
Oh, 100%. It is far beyond my knowledge. I could barely draw it on a piece of paper with a biro, a goldfish. So I definitely struggle with this. But basically, yeah, you have to get from one end of a level to the other, and those little golden seashells, they're checkpoints. So if I was to fall off that these telephone wires now and fall to the ground and go to fishy heaven, I would start wherever I sort of came across the most recent golden seashell. We seem to be, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but it's going okay so far. It's going all right.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Right.
I mean, it's a bit heart in mouth at times, isn't it?
Yes. It is a bit. I think I'm down.
Feel for the poor fella.
It's definitely. Oh. Right. I don't think that was. Oh, was I? Hold on. There's a golden seashell over here.
Yeah.
Let's go over this direction. If people in the chat as well watching, if you could let me know if you have enough game audio, if it's a little too loud, I can turn it down, no problem at all. Yeah, I think there's a part right near the end of this where I have to go across moving traffic, and we could be there for a half an hour, Chris. I won't lie.
That's all right. We can talk our way through that.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. That went well.
This is amazing.
So do you have much experience, Chris, when it comes to actually with the controller in your hands? I've lived semi-vicariously through our children, and our daughter actually is in the gaming industry now, and her partner both work in the gaming industry. And our son was an avid gamer from a very early age. Oh, poor thing. And really introduced me to the reality of the community, actually, of gamers, and how generous, and the breaking down the cliches, actually, I think a lot of people had at the time of gamers. And he was involved in a series of games where they had a team. Sorry, I'm putting you off now, aren't I? No, carry on. This is good.
But and he I remember just before he went off to university, there was a knock on the door. He was upstairs playing, and there was a knock on the front door, and someone arrived, and there were 2 crates of beer and about 5 pizzas. And we said, I'm not sure if this is the right place. I said, no, it's all for, and named our son, who came down. He said, so that's from my friend in Palestine. That's from my friend in South Korea. That's from my friend in Germany. This one's from Portugal. And this one's from Mexico. And so as he was going away to university, they basically had all bought some beers and pizza for him. And he basically gave us mum and dad a crate of beer, which was very nice, and some pizzas as well. He took 3 pizzas off, and afterwards we said to him, so that's amazing, how does that work? And he said, well, all my friends all sort of chipped in, but he said, since we've been playing as a team, we all contribute a small amount to pay for server time and entry and things. But he said very early on we agreed that none of us would do it for competitions where for cash just for ourselves. If we won any money during playing games or competitions, we would give it to charity. So I said to him, so how much have you guys given away? And he said, oh, well, literally today, he said we've given about £3,000 to cancer research. He said we also gave, I think it was about £2,500 to British Heart Foundation. And I said, so how much have you guys given away? Thinking you're just about to go to university and that's going to cost. And he said, he said, we've given about £35,000 away.
Wow.
And it turned out there was this whole world where these guys, and he said the reason they did it was because they felt that if one person was sort of gaining financially over another, in the end, they'd end up sort of just thinking about themselves, whereas thinking as a team, they were always looking out for each other. And that kind of attitude would seem really, really healthy. So, that wasn't my introduction to gaming, and I played on had the control in my hands for a few games winning, but of course they outplayed us all the time. But it really introduced me to the fact that the gaming community was a remarkable community, and people who loved the gaming, but also were also engaged with the rest of the world. It was just an amazing opening of understanding.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's and as you say, like quite a. I enjoy the moment of hold on, how much?
His mum and I were going, and so this university is going to cost us this much, and then we went, okay, we can't begrudge you giving that money away.
Yes, no. Exactly. Well, as you were regaling us with that very, very nice story, Chris, I somehow got past the first level. I don't know how. I came across the bit where you're crossing oncoming traffic, and everything went smoothly. I'm not entirely sure how. But I did, before I go on to the next level, I did want to show the people at home, because I mentioned I want to show a few videos as we move along. There was one that I wanted to show people first, with a face that they might find somewhat familiar.
The battle against the climate crisis can sometimes feel hopeless. Our oceans are rising, our ice caps are melting, and our forests are burning. We can all feel the winds of change blowing, and not in the right direction. But what if I told you there was hope, down there beneath the waves? There lives our mightiest ally in the fight against climate change, tending vast floating rainforests that are a vital support system for all of life on Earth. They are climate giants. They are whales. They need us, and we need them. It's time to step up, to protect our whales, to protect our oceans, to protect our planet.
Jerome Flynn, Chris.
I'm going to show you I'm going to show you my age because, of course, I remember Jerome Flynn from Soldier Day.
Of course, Robson and Jerome.
Absolutely.
Unchained Melody, all that, yeah.
But Jerome's always been an amazing advocate for the natural world. And he's done a few things with WDC over the years, which we've been incredibly grateful for. And we were in the run-up to COP26, where we had a team going up to advocate for ocean protection and for the role of whales and dolphins in the ocean. The team came up with an idea of we need something to try and engage people and get them to understand. And we reached out to Jerome again, and he very kindly donated his time to do that. And he's got the perfect face and the perfect voice for that kind of fisherman on the sea there in a rowboat. And he was brilliant. He was brilliant, and worked with the team to get that done, all done in a day. I have to admit, off the west coast of Wales here. And he's been a great patron and ambassador for the organisation, and stepped up when we needed him to do a few things. And of course, since Soldier, depending on your likings, he's done all right, and he's quite a well-known person now, not just in the UK. I think it was some little program he was involved in with dragons and running around
thing.
Something had a small audience, I believe, around the world.
That's amazing. So I've started the second level here as the goldfish. Again, I don't want to jinx things, but I've maybe when the lights are bright and the red light is on, I'm playing beyond my ability. I'm not sure, but it's been going okay so far, at the very least.
Yeah.
But the important thing, the reason we're playing I Am Fish today, and the reason I have brought Chris on to chat about the WDC is because this stream is part of Yogscast's Jingle Jam 2021, and we are raising money and raising awareness of whale and dolphin conservation. If you go to tiltify.com/@curvegames/ Jingle Jam WDC, the address is always at the bottom of the screen. If you go there and donate to WDC, we would be so grateful. Such a worthy cause, and if you can donate, any donation at all would be greatly appreciated. Is there, just for the viewer at home, this isn't the first time you've gotten involved with Jingle Jam, is it?
No, we've been extremely lucky. We started with Jingle Jam back in 2016, and the team there have just been great. We've Yogscast now are really most probably our biggest individual funder during that time. We've raised, not including this year, I think about £1.3 million sterling.
Oh, congratulations!
Jingle Jam and gaming supporters, and so because of Lewis and Simon's support right from an early stage, we even named a wild dolphin up in the Moray Firth Honeydew after Simon, and we've taken. I think the guys have been taken to a swimming pool, and they did cute promotions as they swam up and down in their scuba gear and things. No, it's been a great relationship, and the guys there have been exceptional in wanting to see better protection for whales and dolphins. And I mean, Jingle Jam is just an amazing thing for charity support anyway, and bringing the industry together. And it just, I want to say I'm amazed, but having told you that story about, family and the spirit we've seen in gamers anyway, I can't say I'm amazed, because we kind of knew that sort of attitude and that sort of community spirit was always there within the gaming community. Jingle Jam's just been incredible at allowing us to go and do some amazing things. So it's backed. We've had a captivity tourist campaign where we've been able to engage with the tourist industry, and the support that came in meant that we were able to work with BA and Virgin and persuade them to no longer support promotion of dolphin area and really shift their customers' attention to looking at wild populations as opposed to animals in captivity. Jingle Jam helped us with working with another organization called Merlin Entertainments to help create the world's first beluga sanctuary for ex-captive animals. So we were able to get 2 belugas flown out of China. They'd originally be caught off the Russian coast and then shipped to China. And they were moved up to Iceland. And now they live in a bay in Iceland, where we're also hoping that more belugas who are in captivity at the moment could be brought together, because these belugas are incredibly social creatures. They need to be in groups. And yet there are single belugas held around the world in effectively concrete tanks. Whereas in the natural environment, they're always together with others. In 2020, the last couple of years have been very strange, I think, for all of us. But it was 2020. Jingle Jam helped us with a project in Senegal with the Atlantic humpback dolphin, which have become critically endangered, actually. There's fewer than about 1,500 adults left. And there's communities around that coast that are interacting with those dolphins and haven't quite understood what's going on. So we've been able then to, with the support of Jingle Jam, to put support into a team on the ground. We're doing the beach surveys, working with the local communities in local schools. We've been able to get a vehicle for the team there to be able to travel further and work up and down the coast, and make people aware of what's happening with those dolphins, and actually those children and others take possession of wanting to protect the dolphins. So we've been able to do things that we would never have been able to do if it hadn't been for the gaming community and for Jingle Jam. So it's been incredible. It's been incredible. It's opened doors, and I think the whole community there and companies like Curve have just been standing beside us as we've been trying to do more and more of these things. And it's just been remarkable. We wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for Jingle Jam and the gaming community.
And I know, again, like Jingle Jam, like we're just so happy to support and lend our help in whatever way we can, as you lend your help to me, Chris, because clearly your presence here has just, I mean, I'm getting 4 stars and 5 stars. This is unprecedented, I swear. I'm not normally this accomplished at this game. But whilst, or before I should say, we move on to the next level as the goldfish, I again wanted to show another video, because you mentioned climate change, and there is one video I wanted to show that WDC put together on climate change, because I think, and you can speak more to this after we show it, that there's probably a lot of people out there, and I can say this because I think I was probably one of them, who wasn't aware how important, I suppose, whales and dolphins are when it comes to the fight against climate change. So have a look at this, and then we'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Regina, and I've been studying whales and their role in the marine ecosystem for many years. Did you know that whales are allies in the fight against climate change? No? Then my colleague Sabrina will imagine what it's like to be inside the mind of a humpback whale named Salt.
Hi, I'm Salt, and I spend most of the year off the east coast of North America. I am a female humpback whale with a large family. I have 15 children, 17 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren, and I hope there will be more. My whole family are gardeners of the seas. But how do we do that? Well, we fertilize the seas with nutrients.
Iron and other nutrients from whale poop feed phytoplankton. These tiny marine plants absorb carbon dioxide from the air and release oxygen into the atmosphere. So much, in fact, that land creatures like us humans owe every other breath we take to the ocean.
But we do even more. Whales are also nutrient mixers. To find food, we often have to dive deep, but to breathe, we regularly come to the water's surface.
By spending time at different ocean depths, whales mix and transport nutrients across all water layers. This benefits both phytoplankton at the ocean surface and bottom-dwelling organisms in the deep sea.
At some point, even whales have to die. But even after we die, we play an important role in the marine ecosystem.
The body cells of whales, like those of all living creatures, consist largely of carbon. When a whale dies, the body usually sinks to the bottom of the sea, locking the carbon away for up to thousands of years. There it is decomposed over many years by hungry deep-sea creatures. The carbon stored in the whale's carcass is transferred to the cells of the deep-sea organisms, preventing it from being released back into the atmosphere.
Whales are perfect climate protectors. We are climate giants. Without me as the head of the family, there will be far fewer whales in the ocean, and the fewer whales there are, the more the climate is out of balance. So when you protect us, you also protect the climate. Every whale counts.
Come to our website to learn more about how we need to save the whales to save the world.
Now, we've got quite a few
So
comics.
that is, a look at how whales can help, as I say, in our fight against climate change. And I know that video in particular is quite popular amongst school kids, you were telling me, Chris.
Yeah, I think the moment you mentioned poo and children's eyes light up, mind you, quite a few adults also seem to share that kind of.
Very correct. Yeah.
Any type of toilet humor works. But it's children. I think children get it. Children, especially children growing up now, that they're living in a world where, of course, because of COVID, the kind of existential threat is at our front doors. But they are very aware of climate change and the crisis that we face here. And so one of the things we wanted to do was engage people by saying it is terrible, but you've got to think about hope. You've got to think about what's going on. And the whole approach we've taken is that if you understand what's happening in the natural world, if you can see recovery, then whales and these other large vertebrates are actually our allies, and they've always been our allies, despite all the harm we've done them as humanity over the years. In the last 150 years, we've lost about 80% of the biomass. So if you took every whale and dolphin together and sort of stuck them into a ball, let's forgive ourselves for even having that visualization. But if you did, we'd only have about 20% of everything that we had previously. So you imagine we've removed these significant predators and also these significant ocean gardeners, really, who've been moving nutrients around the ocean and around the various seas. And in doing so, we've ended up with dead areas where you don't find fish. If you don't find whales, you don't tend to find fish. And yet where we're seeing them being restored, we're actually starting to see ocean recovery. In the last century alone, we killed something like 3 million of the great whales. And I mean, the big guys that we often see on TV, the Moby Dick size whales. And we've got, most probably in terms of overall whales and dolphins, about 1.5 million left in the ocean. So there's a huge capacity to see that recovery take place. And the ocean at the moment is absorbing 93% plus of all the anthropogenic, man-made, human-made, woman-made heat that we generate through the climate crisis. But it's on a tipping point, which is if we pump any more heat into it, we are going to see some flips taking place. Whales and dolphins at the moment are moving, as I said, nutrients around. They're eating in one area, they're breeding in other areas, but they're pooping all over the place and putting these essential minerals back into the ocean. They're helping to feed populations of phytoplankton. And phytoplankton is an enormous absorber of greenhouse gases in terms of carbon dioxide. There's been several estimates, and it's a difficult one at the moment. We're trying to work the science out, but in certain areas you might see, say, a 1% increase in phytoplankton. It doesn't sound much, but if we saw 1% globally, we'd be talking about 370 million tons of carbon. It's the equivalent of the UK's 2016 production of carbon dioxide. So We could take almost a year's production of carbon dioxide and trap it in the ocean if we could get just 1% of phytoplankton growth again. So we now know that what are called nature-based solutions, the trees, the oceans, blah, 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 could capture about 37% of all the carbon dioxide we need to capture in the coming years and locking it away. The ocean could contribute of that about 21%. So it's a huge, significant number. This doesn't take away from, as human beings, we need to change our behavior. We need to, stop using oil and gas in the way we use it. We need to stop putting plastics into the ocean, which is inhibiting creatures in the ocean from absorbing carbon dioxide. But if we allowed it to recover, we'd have this enormous ally in the ocean, and those phytoplankton would be being effectively tended by the gardeners of the ocean, the whales and dolphins. And so that is a message of hope. Despite everything we've done to them, they've stayed our allies throughout all of this. And that's part of our message to folks at the moment. We've got to stop doing things like whaling. It doesn't serve a purpose anymore. There's only a few individuals who make some money out of it. And in fact, nearly all commercial whaling around the world is now just subsidized. We've got to eliminate bycatch. We're most probably losing between 300,000 and 500,000 whales and dolphins every year. Remember, I told you there's maybe only 1.5 million plus of them. We just can't afford to lose these youngsters in these kind of ways. Fishermen don't want to capture them. We need to find the techniques. We need to find ways of avoiding those losses. And I think people are waking up to that. And it's an exciting thing for many. We've talked to lots of potential partners and people who are interested in this area now. Companies are beginning to understand that the climate crisis and the biodiversity crisis are two sides of the same coin. You really can't solve one without solving the other. And the reality is, if we give them a chance, these remarkable creatures will carry on doing what they've been doing for centuries, which is helping the ocean absorb carbon dioxide. So it's turning the debate into one of hope and starting to say, we can take some simple steps and then some major steps, but all of that will actually lead to a better planet. And we have a phrase which is save the whale, and we're going to save the planet. And save the planet, we're going to save ourselves. So yeah, there's some great opportunities coming. We just need to give these creatures a chance. Yeah,
I mean, it's it's an excellent video that explains it, as you say, explains it very well to kids, and I mean, even adults who aren't that familiar with the situation, and it is one of the reasons why we at Curve have partnered with WDC, because it is so important for just the beautiful creatures that they are, but even just for the health of the planet that we're on. And I did want to just say that once again you can donate to WDC at tiltify.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC, and we have had a donation from an anonymous donor. So yeah, thank you very much for that, whomever you may be. But yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, I know whilst you have been talking about much more important things, Chris, I have been doing all right. Been getting my little goldfish out onto they find themselves in a little jar, in a sort of a little square here amongst the people. As long as I stay away from them, I don't think if they catch me that's game over, but I think they can sort of kick me. And with this, it's sort of even more difficult to control than the goldfish bowl.
Yeah.
Sort of, you have to turn it by it, like it stays attached on the ground on one side, and you sort of turn it by leaning in either left or right. It's definitely tricky. It's hard to explain and hard to do. But if it's
going to pivot around each point, isn't it? At each end, yes. And you pressure at the other. It's brilliant there. You're doing superb.
and if I just go through the maze of planks around here, then I swear I've never played like this before. I'm playing out of my skin. Oh. If I keep going, oh no! Right.
Oh no, it's still there.
Now we need to be weary of. Oh no! It's that fishy. That's a big fall. I don't think they're going to survive that one, sadly. We'll get them to the ocean. I mean, that's your for anyone just joining us. This is I Am Fish, which we are playing today to raise money and awareness of WDC Whale and Dolphin Conservation during this year's Jingle Jam, which is Yogscast's charity drive. And that's probably not the way to go. Oh no!
Actually, my heart is is running at twice the speed, I think, at the moment.
It's definitely, as I say, you have to sort of control, like, each object that you go in, be it a goldfish bowl, a jar like this. I don't know if you saw, but in the second level I was in a sort of a mop and bucket.
Yeah.
They're kind of like they're effectively vehicles, and they all control slightly differently, you know. So you have to sort of figure out the behaviors of each, again, for lack of a better term, each vehicle that you inhabit, because they all behave differently, and then will behave differently depending on the terrain that you're traveling down. Like these kind of big cables this piping that I'm going down now, the jar is moving quite erratically. What we got there, we're okay.
Colin, that's brilliant.
So do know the end of the level is, I just need to be, see, got a bit overzealous there. Bit too confident now, Chris. I was very cautious coming into it, but because of my successes on the first two levels, I think I'm untouchable now, but I need to be a little bit more pragmatic in my approach, and we'll be okay.
The skill required is amazing, though, isn't it? I mean,
it's definitely like, this game developed by, for those who are unaware watching, developed by our friends at Bossa Games. Oh no, that was close.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful play.
Our friends at Bossa made this. Came out a few months ago on PC and on Xbox, and it is one of the more challenging games on the market, but also like incredibly rewarding when you sort of do get to grips with whether, like, this is how you control when you're in a jar versus how you control just in water versus in a fish bowl or in a bucket or what have you. And even like after this level, we're able to play as one of the other fish, which I might do. The blowfish the pufferfish is personal favorite, so I might show you how that works. But it's all really intricate and, as I say, very rewarding when you get the hang of it. Most definitely.
The skills involved are amazing.
I'm trying to remember. Is it out there? I think it's over here. We won't long be finding out anyway. So let's. I think it's this way. Let's see. Oh. Yeah, and through, you just have to basically navigate through this maze.
So, Colin, I could distract you, I suppose. But did you always know you wanted to be in the gaming world?
I for the most part, yeah, and I knew I wanted to be in something sort of creative. Like I loved I loved games and I loved comedy. And when I realised I wasn't funny enough, I said, "What about if I give the games lark a go?" And I just watch. I watch the likes of Ray Shearsmith and Steve Pemberton show me how it's done, and I can help with games, but still not make them. I'm not that good. But yeah, no, it's a delight to be part of the Curve community. This is meant to happen just in case, because that smashes into the water.
Yes. Perfect.
Delightful.
Freedom.
Yes, indeed. And that's essentially the story of the game, is get each fish to the water. Kind of like what we were saying about the beluga whales, wasn't it? Like, get to their natural habitat. Obviously, Iron Fish is a bit more cartoony, but still, the message is there. Because as the goldfish sort of realizes they've come to the water, but their friends aren't there, and that's where you, as the player, then plays the other fish and bring them to the water, their natural habitat.
Excellent.
See, who could look at that and not smile?
Yeah, no, it's superb. I've been smiling all the way through. Actually, it's just been it's been really enlightening. It's amazing.
Before we move to the pufferfish, I thought it'd be a good time to first remind you at home, tiltify.com/AskCurveGames/Jingle Jam WDC to donate to Whale and Dolphin Conservation, a great cause that we're trying to raise money for today and raise awareness of. But before we crack on, I did want to play one video, because I'm sure people watching these things at times are wondering, if I donate to causes, where does my money go? And there's one video here where specifically it was between WDC and Curve, and it involved this here at Kaizumi Beach, which maybe you can talk about after we play it, Chris. So yeah, have a watch of this.
I'm a happy camper.
Thanks, WDC, for all your support.
So whilst I am starting this first level as the pufferfish, are you able to tell the people at home a little bit about that video, Chris, or even kind of similar situations?
Yeah, no. So the the work that Paul Spong and the team do out there in Canada has been incredible. We've known Paul for must be about the same amount of time I've been with WDC as, again, show my age, which is close on 30 years. And Paul was one of the first founders of Greenpeace, believe it or not, Paul Spong, and he got Greenpeace involved in the anti-whaling movement in the early days, and he became fascinated by orcas and what was happening in orca communities, because he started studying them and realized that one, there was complex communication going on between the orcas. There were structures to the community where there were, for example, it's matriarchal, so you've got a senior female. And then his work off Vancouver, where he's based and set up Orka Lab, WDC got involved with very early in terms of supporting. And then Paul with ourselves, we put together an orca adoption program. So the orcas that we report on to some of our supporters are based up there. And Kazumi Beach is an incredible beach where there's these smooth pebbles where the orcas will come in and rub their bellies. And it's not just about dealing with parasites, dealing with irritation. It's part of a social bonding of the community of orcas there. And with Curve support, we were able to put a camera put in, as you've just seen, where you can have a live cam and you can watch the orcas underwater as they're coming up to the beach. And it is wonderful because we get to see these creatures at the surface most of the time as they're coming into that transition between water and air. But of course, underwater, they're completely liberated and can be themselves as they're moving around. And they're incredibly graceful. For such powerful creatures, they're incredibly graceful. Up in Canada, the orcas will eat salmon. And part of the work there that we're doing is also, how do you ensure that the salmon populations are also protected to ensure that there's enough salmon for the whales and other wildlife. Yeah. But the camera has given us a unique observation post into the lives of these creatures. So it's not just great for supporters and members of the public to be able to see the orcas, but actually we can do science in studying them, seeing their behavior under the water. And yeah, that came from the relationship with Curve. So it's been brilliant. It's allowed us to do something that we'd wanted to do for some time, but yeah, we were able to move that forward thanks to Curve.
Yeah, and I think that, as I mentioned, people, I think videos like that are important as well in showing people that, what your donations are going towards. So again, tiltify.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC. And I mean, you saw there from that video, like it's those types of projects, I suppose, Chris, and other similar things where the people at home, that's where their money would be going.
Yeah, and those kind of things are essential because some of the work we do is trying to stop certain things from happening. So for, say, a new captive facility being built or stopping the capture of whales and dolphins from the ocean. And those are really hard to demonstrate because there's no visual at the end of the day. You either stop it or it happens. But projects where there's folks on the ground, and so like in Senegal where the team are there, it's been difficult with COVID, of course, but where there's actually a vehicle that people can see is moving up and down. Those kind of things really can bring things home, I think, for the folks. We've just done a project, again, it's one of those semi-invisibles. We've just done a project with ASDA here in the UK and a partner organisation where we've audited their supply chain of fish products. So ASDA have committed to eliminating bycatch from the incidental take of whales, dolphins, birds, turtles in their fisheries. And that is a huge holistic program working back towards the fishers who are catching in the first place, trying to find alternatives. But again, that's one of those things where the person in the UK or here in Europe would not see any difference, because they'll still see the products they're buying. But what behind the scenes they need to know is that we're actually getting to make sure that whales and dolphins are still swimming free and not getting entangled in nets. So where we can, of course, do projects where there's something, as you say, a tangible, those are real critical projects, because that's where we can really demonstrate things are happening. And the support changes people's lives. We've worked in places like Colombia in the Amazon, where we have river dolphins. These are dolphins that never see the sea. They live in freshwater. We worked in Colombia with a partner organization quite a long time ago now, but there was a bycatch of whales and dolphins when the community were trying to fish. They actually venerated the dolphins. They regarded them as where their ancestors could go to once they passed on. But because of the pressures on the ecosystem there, they were having to catch, when they were targeting fish, they were accidentally catching the dolphins. What we did was work with the local community and groups there to help build a research center, but we also made sure that the research center was on one level and a school was provided on the bottom level. And then children who were having to help their parents because it was such a precarious income at the time, were able then to start going to school. Now, that's not WDC's mandate. Our mandate is to protect the whales and dolphins, but of course, you can't protect the whales and dolphins unless you're protecting the environment there, and you can't protect the whales and dolphins unless there's a sort of social justice going on where that local community can get involved and be part of the solution. And in fact, the kids were great. The kids who were coming into school were learning about the whales and dolphins, going home and then nagging mum and dad about why were they losing dolphins. And so with a fisheries project that we ran alongside it, where they could develop an alternative, we got that bycatch way down. And that community then started at their own ecotourism, where you could go in and visit the river dolphins, but it was all run by that indigenous community. No one's coming from the outside. There isn't money being siphoned off to some company elsewhere. The money stays in that community and has given them a sustainable income and a way forward. But it was done in partnership. It's not us telling them how to do things, it's us working with them. Mm-hmm. And that's the other tangible thing, is the way people's lives have changed. And I'm especially proud of the WDC team that have worked on those kind of projects, where we've made a difference both for these remarkable creatures, but for local people as well. It's not a bad thing to feel as you've been part of.
100%, and it's probably like those stories again from the WDC's point of view are important to share, because it shows how far-reaching the charity can be, and how it can sort of impact others' lives, as well as the conservation of whales and dolphins. So, yeah, no, definitely.
One quick thing on it. Sorry, one of the most patronizing things someone once said to me was that people in communities where there's poverty and they're scraping a living can't afford to think about protecting their environment. That's completely rubbish. These people care. People want to care. Of course, they're going to prioritize their children or whatever, but you give them the opportunity. People do care about their environment. They just need to be respected and helped create the tools to do that. So that was a huge lesson for me, which was you can approach this from a patronizing way, or you can approach this from a social justice equity way and still do the best by way of these incredible creatures.
Definitely. Now, I should say, tiltify.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC to donate, please do. So I have been playing as this little guy here, this pufferfish, and if you notice, so same as the goldfish, I can swim about, but I can, because it is a pufferfish, can also puff out my cheeks and become a ball. That's pretty good, isn't it? Protruding eyes.
That's very cool.
And it's sort of, again, like other aspects of the game, you have to sort of manage it. So like, as when I'm puffed out like that, it's much more difficult to control in water, but it's imperative on land to sort of get across like dry areas like that and get into these little pools, these little pockets of water. So you have to sort of balance that sort of risk and reward, because if you're out of the water for too long, screen starts to go black, and that's basically you're saying goodbye to the poor little pufferfish. But again, it's doing okay, or I'm doing okay. I think it's down.
Wow.
I think I'm down here somewhere. Those little bits of bread are sort of extras that you can, if you want, you can go out of your way to collect. Where am I going? I think it's this way. Oh, it's down here. That's right. As I say, it's been going okay for this stream, and that's surprising me, because it will take me much longer, and I will have died a few more times. So we'll see how we get on for the remainder of this. I think this part is where I get to showcase sort of how, that's right, how you can use the pufferfish's abilities even more, which is like that. You can shoot yourself up into the air. It's pretty good.
Is the character puffing water out to project himself, or puffing air, or?
I think it's because it's a blowfish. It's, I mean, I won't lie, I don't know. It's sort of, yeah, I believe so.
Oh, that's.
Oh God. There we go.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. And while you're up, as well as having to get to water as quick as possible, you gotta, because I suppose, yeah, you saw it there, the screen will fade to black, but those sort of the thorny briars, you have to, if you go into them, your little fish will also not be long for this world, so you have to, oh no, like that. Can I swim past it?
Yes, yes.
Just about.
Just away.
Getting caught and entangled and stuff.
It's challenging, isn't it? It really is.
Oh, it most definitely. Oh no! you can even see it's quite dark. You can see its eyes begin to close. But yeah, no, definitely it is. It is challenging. But as I say, sort of like rewarding at the same time.
Yeah, the effects are great, aren't they? I mean, I can see the track effectively you're following, but the effects, the water effects, the surface effects, some great design in it. I'm amazed you can talk and play. That's really all multitasking.
Just about. Now, oh yes. So back into our trusty jar. And this is where we need to be mindful of seagulls. Because they, for whatever reason, don't take too kindly to our jar. And when seagulls find you, I suppose it's the fish they're after, really, more so than the jar. They want to, they kind of swoop down and start cracking your jar until it is no more and you're on the ground. So there's a pathway in amongst these kitchen tables, these kind of picnic tables. That's the word I was looking for. That hide you most effectively from the seagulls, I believe. But I don't think they've spotted us yet. It's over there through that gate. You can, if I swing the camera around, look, you can see one there on top of that picnic table. There's one up there as well.
Yeah.
So if we avoid them, go underneath here.
So the little circle with a gull in, is that showing you where they are?
I believe that's sort of like if it shows up red, because you see the little lines of color that shoot off of it. If you see a red one, it's sort of it's showing you how hidden you are.
Gotcha. Like a little gull radar.
Kind of. Yeah.
Exposure radar.
So we're doing all right so far. Although if we see a sort of a red one, we're getting orange. If we see a red one, oh no! Right, I think he can see us, and like that, he fly into us. You can sort of even see the cracks forming there on the right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh dear!
Come on, fish.
Need to get through this gate.
Oh yes.
So I need to get over here to the right or to the left. This is tense.
I'm not breathing anymore.
Because I'd say one or two more good swoops from the seagull. We're okay, we're at the checkpoint. And we're good.
Oh, perfect.
Now this pufferfish is one of the strongest fish you'll ever see, because it can move an entire wheelie bin, which is quite handy. But yeah, it's been to the gym. It's not seeing January as a goal. The fish believes go to the gym now, work on those gains. So we swim over this general direction. There's a bit after this, I believe, that involves some quite similar to the last level of the. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh, to do it! Oh,
that's me gone. Basically, if I might
get there.
So I got the seashell. So we should, sort of cheated a little bit there, but got to this part, which is this part is a bit tough, I think. So yeah, back in our bowl, somebody handily just left a little goldfish bowl there for us, which is nice. We need to try and not fall whilst I forgot there was another seagull here as well. Oh dear.
Oh no.
Yep.
Mind you, you've got airborne attacks coming in at the same time, it seems.
It's tricky. It's definitely tricky. Let's try again. So yeah, you can actually see. So that plank of wood I went on is slightly darker in color. So those ones, if you go across them, they will collapse. So while I'm here, get my nice piece of bread. Oh, seagull!
Suckered you in then, didn't they? They had that piece of bread there waiting for you.
Placed there by the seagull. Nasty.
There's a story about a dolphin that was held in captivity in the US, but just was amazing in terms of what it showed, in terms of its capability. Every evening, the dolphinarium staff would get the dolphins to go out and pick up bits of rubbish which had blown into the tank. And there was this one, and they'd reward them with fish. Pufferfish, but they'd reward them with fish. But this one dolphin was bringing bits of paper back to the trainers, and maybe 5, 10, 15 times more than any other dolphin. And they couldn't work this out until one time they watched, and there was a sort of walkway, a bit like this, out over the water. And what they found the dolphin was doing was he was going out. He was getting, say, a plastic bag or a big piece of paper that had blown into the pool, would swim under the walkway and then was ripping it up into smaller and smaller parts, and then would bring individual parts out to get a reward. And after a while, because seagulls are a bit of a problem, and at quite a few dolphinariums, you'll see dolphins sometimes have injuries, and that's where gulls have come down and pecked at them trying to get fish at the same time. This one learned to actually grab the gulls and then would bring the gulls back to the trainers and won a reward as well.
Wow.
So what was remarkable was going on was, one, they could associate the reward with getting the fish with actually bringing back something. But of course, it was doing a bit of mathematics in its head as well, which was actually, if I break this up, it could evaluate a situation and say, I can get more rewards. So for every one that every other dolphin was getting, this guy was getting about 10. And it's a glimpse into how amazing some of these species are in terms of their capabilities. And where we thought years ago dolphins were communicating, and we now start to understand certain species actually have signature whistles. So you'll have a dolphin, say, off the Aberdeen coast who's signaling, and so you need a dolphin in this situation. They would have got the gull, got him out of the way, saved the fish. But they can communicate, and so communicate over long distances, and they will use a signature whistle to indicate that you're one dolphin calling to another. But if the dolphin itself, who's, say, let's anthropomorphize it and say that the dolphin's name is William, when someone's calling for William, they'll use the signature whistle for William. When William's calling, he's using a signature whistle which sounds a bit more like Bill, basically saying this is Bill who's sending the message out. So over the years, I think the big mistake we've made is trying to, as humanity, is trying to sort of go, these creatures have to, let's teach them our language. And there's been attempts to do that. What it turns out is that they have a much more complex social type of language, partly related to how they move around each other. But you've got to think of them as acoustical creatures who live in water that's sometimes very dark and they can't see each other. But can they express complex feelings, express complex information? It looks increasingly like they can. And that's one of the remarkable things that we're beginning to discover now. And having to understand that and then apply that to real conservation policy to be able to understand how we can protect them as a larger group. But it all comes down to the reality is they are individuals, and we have to start to understand them as individuals to then think about that community and social group they're in. Just thinking of them as some big homogenous group where we can afford to lose one or two of them. Turns out you can't really afford to lose one or two of them. Every whale actually counts, every dolphin counts. So yeah, there's some, again, the support we get as WDC from Curve and from Jingle Jam supporters and things is leading to some really remarkable discoveries now, and those discoveries being applied at big major conventions where countries are agreeing the type of science and the type of protective measures that they need to go into place. And whales and dolphins have always been special. I mean, even under the United Nations Law of the Sea, whales and dolphins have a special category, which means that they were recognized quite some time ago as needing and deserving of special protection. We as WDC are just trying to make sure that we give all the tools to governments, scientists, individuals, and the public, so that and communities, so that they can do what's necessary. But every day is remarkable. We're learning new things all the time.
That's a fascinating story, and even as you say, it shows how intelligent these animals are. When you have one going, I could bring it back, but if I ripped it up and brought it back in parts, then I can get 10 more, or I can get, that's a well-fed dolphin then.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I don't know if you see it, but I had a bit of trouble there. I think the dream is over. I had a bit of trouble with that part.
I was trying to inspire you, then.
The seagulls definitely proving to be quite troublesome for my little puffer fish here, but we're kind of nearing, I think, nearing the end of this section. Oh God.
Oh.
Getting complacent. But whilst I regenerate here for the people at home, if you want to donate to WDC, go to tiltify.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link is, it's on screen now, but it's also in the description of the video as well. So very easy access for you to donate if you can. So thank you very much. Right, let's be a little bit more, trying to be a little bit more cautious. No, he says.
Colin, do you know dolphins also can play games? It's not like this, but they create their own games as well. We know that they will create shapes using bubbles. So we've seen bottlenose dolphins in the sea creating shapes and effectively blowing bubbles and then watching them move around, and you'll have groups of them doing. There's a dolphin called Billy. We've been studying dolphins in the Port River in Adelaide in Australia for a long time now. And Billy was a dolphin that got effectively caught up in a marina at one area and got taken into captivity for about 3 weeks, and wasn't made to do tricks or anything like that, but was kept for about 3 weeks and then released. And while she was in captivity, she saw dolphins that were made to do tail walks. I don't know if you've ever seen this, where the dolphins lift themselves out of the water and they're basically just using their tail to lift and walk backwards.
Right,
and Billy was a senior female amongst that group. And after, I think about a year, if I'm remembering rightly, she was observed out in the wild in a natural habitat doing a tail walk. And then some more of the girls who were in her gang, basically, her social grouping, started doing it as well. And we looked at it from a science point of view in terms of, was this about attracting mate? Was it helping them in their feeding or whatever? Turns out, no. It turns out it's just them having fun. It's the only thing. They didn't need it for food. They didn't need it to attract a partner. They didn't need it for anything else. It just seems like they were having fun. And that's the other bit we're beginning to understand, that with socially complex and intelligent fellow creatures, just because they don't have the same type of intelligence as us, they're not going around and manipulating and creating remarkable things like this game and using technology. but they have adapted to their environment in so many complex ways, which we just don't understand yet. And it's a different type of intelligence, but it's one that's worthy of respect and protection. But yeah, these guys, they have capacity to just have fun. And
I mean,
that tells you something.
It's like that's a great story and a sort of an important one as well. That because I can imagine, you know, like trying to look at the situation and go, you know, are they? Because I suppose maybe you look at it from a sort of a clinical point of view of, as you say, like, are they trying to attract a mate, or is this like, what is this for? And it's like, no, it's just a bit of a laugh. Like, what, you know, like we can just we need our downtime as well.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah, no, complex creatures need to relax, and I think you know, touching on this before, when you know, during all these lockdowns and things that people have had to bear for, you know, to protect the rest of community, to protect our various health services, the games and the socialization that games have provided, I think, have been essential during that time. It's allowed people to link up with others. It allows people to step out of one world, which feels sometimes existentially threatened by COVID and by climate and whatever, and step into a world where they can be safe. And of course, the challenges for this fish and things, but I think gaming's played an essential role actually in the mental health and society for some time. It's going to be really interesting, the studies that come in the next few years about the role of gaming during this period.
I couldn't agree more. It's obviously been very tough for everyone for a variety of reasons the last 2 years or so, and I do think that games has had a positive impact. I can't remember whether this was when we were talking on the live stream or beforehand, but how it sort of gave people an avenue to socialize, and at a time when we couldn't. And that's where games like this, what we're playing today, I Am Fish, where they become so important. And like I don't know the facts and figures, but I can only imagine some people who maybe didn't play games before might have picked it up to chat to friends, and now they have a new hobby.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think COVID kind of robbed us all of agency in many ways. There were so many things in our lives we could no longer control, whereas gaming, I think, gave us also a sense of agency during this period, and that's been incredibly important for a lot of people as well.
Almost there.
Now, this part of the level, it might seem counterintuitive as to why a fish would want to get caught, but the reason being is that to finish the level, have to try and land in that little bucket, which bit of manoeuvring. Yes.
Oh yes.
Lovely. Quite happy with that. Before we go on to the next level, which I think is the final pufferfish level, because we were talking about dolphins quite a bit there, we do have one video that I wanted to show that indeed focuses on dolphins. So have a little watch of this, and then we will be back with more I Am Fish. So, yeah, I mean that video exhibits again how important whales and dolphins are, and but the thing I think I'll take away from today and talking to you, Chris, is just how much, I suppose, as we are here in this nightclub, how comfortable dolphins would be here as well. They'd love it here.
They'd most probably dance better than I could. I can tell you that.
You and me both. No, this is a bit of a tricky one. I think I have to try and get out of here without doing too much harm to myself. Just gonna prove tricky. But yeah, is there ever any studies to show? Because I find that fascinating. Any other like games that dolphins play, or you said they sort of create shapes in the water?
Yeah, they do. I mean, there's studies being done with captive whales and dolphins and military dolphins. But the problem with those studies is, of course, they're in an environment which isn't natural, and so their behaviour is almost all attuned to reward structures, whereas in the wild, that they in a natural habitat, they are in control of that. So years ago, we were involved in investigating military dolphin programs. This is where dolphins were being used for diver interdiction and for patrolling bases. And there was some remarkable stuff going on there. Not nice, but remarkable in terms of what the dolphins were being trained to do. So dolphins would be sent out, say, Sevastopol off the Ukrainian Russian coast, and now a highly, of course, contentious area of the world at the moment, dangerous area of the world. But dolphins were taught to swim out and identify if there were divers in the water, and then they would come back and hit a series of paddles to indicate what the threat was. And if it was a certain type of threat, that would then release other dolphins who were trained to go and find where the divers were. So military programs have tried to exploit that intelligence, not just in diver interdiction, but also in terms of recovery of weapon systems that have been lost at sea, and being able to get the dolphins to report back on the conditions. So again, using that intelligence, but for areas that we would be highly concerned about, that you're using creatures in that way. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, the old Soviet Union was selling off military dolphins left, right, and centre. And we got involved when we knew of certain dolphins which had been trained in these ways, were turning up in various dolphinaria around the world. And so went into a place called Georgia off the Black Sea to investigate. And we found a project which had been described as a biodiversity activity centre, but actually was just military dolphins being sold off around the world. With the support that we had, we were able to put a team, which included myself, into country for a period of time, which was an interesting one, because we had to move through various semi-autonomous regions at the time, and it was difficult. It was a highly militarized environment, and but we finally were able to track down what was happening with the dolphins. We were then able to work with the Convention on Trade in Endangered Species to actually stop the export of those dolphins, because it had gone beyond just the dolphins which were held by the military. They had then turned into a capture operation to take dolphins from the Black Sea and just supply them. Okay. But with the support of WDC supporters and partners, we were able to get in, find the evidence, bring it back, and get a complete ban on that transport, and that's shut down that whole industry, and hopefully, stopped a lot of endangered creatures being taken out of the Black Sea and exported all around the world. But so the work has taken us to some really interesting areas. And sorry, your question was there interesting games and things? Some complex stuff going on, but not always for the best of reasons.
Right. Yeah. No, I get what you mean. I mean, even that aspect, I wonder in 2021 how sort of well known that would be amongst people. So like all of these things are sort of vital for people to either be reminded of or for people to learn for the first time. No, I am definitely struggling with this level a little bit more. I don't know it quite as well. I'm just wondering, is it down this way? Yes. So as you can see, I am in a pint glass now. And came out of a mop bucket, went into a pint glass, back into a fish tank.
We'd like to point out that no fish were really harmed in the making of this.
Indeed. Let me see here. Where am I going from here now? I think I'm maybe out of this and rolling over there. Let's try that.
Pufferfish is really cool though, isn't he? I mean, it's a great character.
Oh no. Yeah, this one is definitely proving a bit trickier than the others. Let me see here. If I sort of take a running jump at it. Oh, maybe I have to head over there. Now, the good thing is, I say good thing, it's a bit. Hold on, is it up there? It's in I Am Fish, they nicely give you the helping hand of being able to magically transport yourself to the next checkpoint. So I might have to avail of that. Let's hold on. I'm going to try once more by blowing myself up there. Oh, I think I can do it. Let me try again. There we go.
Oh, yes. Well played.
If I can make my way. Let's take the helping hand. Go to the next checkpoint, which I might have to use a few times in this level, perhaps. So, if I wonder if I can bounce on. There we go.
Yes.
Back in our comfortable fishbowl. So, need to go on to that carpet there. Nice landing. And I think, as we have learned, aquatic life like to let their proverbial hair down. So we'll head back onto the dance floor and be where we're meant to be, or maybe not out that door. No.
Doesn't want to open, does it?
Doesn't want to open at all. Through this vent? Perhaps. Yes. I will, while I'm travelling through this vent, remind people at home, if you want to donate to WDC, head to tiltify.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC. It is an excellent cause, and if you've been with us this afternoon, you'll have heard plenty of Chris's stories. But if you're just joining us, this video will be available on our Curve Games' YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch it back. Now, I think this the door or the little vent covering is blocking. We're meant to go on those wires, I think. This hasn't worked out too well, I think. I can't get enough force behind me. I can push a big wheelie bin, but I can't seem to push this out of the way. No, I'm gonna have to. Let's respawn back on the nightclub owner's table, and let's try that again. I think we can get past it. I just think it was basically whatever way I sort of pushed it out was just slightly in our way. So let's try once more.
Again, I think that's just the fascination of the game dynamics, isn't it? That it can fall the right way or it can fall awkward.
Exactly. The joys of kind of physics-based video games where the items and the objects sort of like you interact with them.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be great for you, other times maybe not so much. Like there, that's all right. So hold on, maybe let's try across here. It's obviously this footage from 2019 when we were all allowed to be as close to one another as everyone wanted people to be close to them. Oh no! I did say I wanted to be on the dance floor, I suppose, but preferably in water as well. Where's that gonna... Right, I'm up here. Why did I fall down there? I think it was... Right, okay. So I need to stay on these ones here with the sort of mesh. Oh! Oh no! It nearly landed on that poor woman's head. She got away. She's living in the moment. She's
oblivious.
Didn't even notice it. Yep. That's when you know it's a good Saturday night. When a fishbowl nearly landed on your head and you didn't even know it. Oh, this is tricky. Oh, stay the course. Just trying to even see where.
Yeah, it's not straightforward, this, is it?
Trying to figure out where I'm meant to be going. Maybe near the DJ. Oh no! Oh yes, I looked into that.
Beautiful, beautifully done.
Totally meant it. So now need to see land on that. I'm guessing on that. Yeah. Land in this little booth here.
Well done, fish.
It's a nice. Because if we land on the ground, our fish bowl will be no more. So hopefully. Oh no! I thought that was going to be cushiony enough.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's not fair. That definitely looked like soft cushion.
Right, let's. Where's that gonna? Oh no! All right. Well, we've done a dry run. We've gone through this one. So let's. Oh dear. There you go. Nearly took her out again, but she's.
You spoke too soon.
Just living in the moment. Yeah, let's be a bit more. Try and be a bit more cautious. Just edge this fishbowl around. This time, I know exactly what I'm meant to do rather than being surprised by this. So land there. So I'm just trying to think now where I'm meant to land. So first of all, onto this sort of pinky purpley light. Maybe there's something on. There might be something on the other side. I'm guessing. Yeah, these. Maybe that. That looks like a table. But
Yeah.
oh, hold on. That.
Like a bucket.
Am I meant to land on the bucket in the bucket from here? Let's try that. Oh no! I was trying to take a running jump at it.
Run
Oh
out.
no, that's gonna yeah. Oh dear. Sorry, Chris. It was
No. It's really fascinating.
it was all going so well.
My heart is there with you. Don't worry. I'm willing this fish on.
I'm getting a bit too confident now. I'm trying to. Oh yeah.
Just cutting the edges.
That was always gonna happen.
That's literally don't cut corners, isn't it?
Yeah.
Literally.
Yep. Do it properly or don't do it at all. So it's just those the little holes cut out of sort of meshing there that I fell through. But we're okay. We're past this bit, I think. Yeah.
Nicely done.
The people below me have no idea.
They're living in their own little world.
So back over to this light.
That's tricky.
Now see, I was trying to line it up and that's where it just wheeled off.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to sort of figure out, can I get to the bucket from this? Maybe I'm meant to... Hold on,
Meant to bounce a bit?
Let me see,
Or?
can I go on that? No, I can't go on that. There is a sort of a makeshift stairway of objects. Let me just... Oh no.
Yeah, it's too hard, isn't it?
Hold on.
Oh!
I forgot.
Yes!
I forgot I'm a puffer fish and I'm able to blow up. Oh, got there. Alright. And now we can join our people here on the dance floor where we're meant to be. So as you can see, but it won't cause a sort of... There's some excellent dance moves and shapes being thrown here. They can, if they get a little bit too close, they can sort of kick the bucket around, but if we sort of edge our way around them, like people just doing the chicken dance there. It's back, 2021. Oh no!
Oh no, back up.
Got away with it.
Beautifully bounced.
Oh!
Precarious. Oh, in someone's drink.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
And he's drank us. So now, this is what I was talking about with like the different sort of vehicles. Or like vessels. Like I am now controlling this man, Greg. So we have to try and get Greg to the toilet if it's possible. But this guy dancing in front of him doesn't want any of it. Let me see.
I hope Greg was one of the game designers. And they put his name.
Can I get past?
Where are the toilets?
Hold on, it must be able to edge my way past this one up here, this person up here.
To find toilets. Where are the toilets?
There's definitely not social distancing, is it?
No. Yeah, this is definitely from a different time. Hold on, I think I'm gonna have to. I was trying to go the short way around. I'm gonna have to
find
go
toilets.
around here.
Toilets. Need to find
Do you know, even with whales and dolphins, with orca populations, I'm thinking about young people wanting to go to nightclubs and everything, like we did when we were young and wanting, not that people should follow this as guidance, but people far too young, you want to go to a bar or you want to go to a nightclub or experience that kind of social thing. With orcas, we know that in their family groups, they only will breed with other different pods, and the youngsters are sexually mature at an age, let's say it's 11, 12, but they don't reproduce in the wild until much later. And that's because they're a bit like teenagers. They have to learn how to behave. They have to learn how to socialize properly. And so they stay with that family group, matriarchal group, and then will breed once they're of a certain age. And we don't see that in many species or types of creatures. But again, just reinforces that importance of it isn't just about an autonomous creature. It's a creature which has a highly complex social. Yes, unfortunately, that reminds me of a few nightclubs I've been to over the years.
Yeah, I think Greg couldn't hang on, and we have to try that again.
Maybe if we're closer to the toilet.
Great.
Hold on, maybe I'll try a sort of a different way around. That's fascinating, though, the sort of social behaviours of different species.
Yeah.
Looking for toilets.
And sometimes how they mimic our own, like how they're different and how the similarities.
Yeah, that's what we always say. I think for a long time, as humans, we wanted whales and dolphins to be like us. And it turns out there is a remarkable amount of similarities, but there's also some amazing differences. And we're coming to understand that it's those amazing differences which are as worthy of protection as the similarities. We don't have to have everything the same as us. I've always said, as human beings, we tend to think we are the center of the world. Mm-hmm. The moment we start understanding that there's these other creatures which deserve to live and deserve to have the right to this planet as well, it kind of does us a favor because it moves the sort of center of the universe away from our ego, into understanding that the shared planet is, quite a unique thing in this part of the galaxy, and it changes our attitude in terms of not everything has to be centered around humans. We can protect others, and in doing that, I think it helps us because it leads to a different type of more holistic thinking about wanting to protect the environment, which benefits us at the end of the day. Because when we always just put humans at the center of things, we tend to compromise and we erode that natural environment around us. When we realize that that's critical, and that's really where we've come to now in the loss of biodiversity, we're beginning to understand that we aren't separate from it. We're absolutely part of it. And unless that's the starting point of all our value. We need to value those natural environments in a way that we haven't done to date, and really should be the bedrock of the way we think as we construct our whole economies, really, in terms of saying natural. Some people use the phrase natural capital. It means all of those things that we've taken for granted. And in taking for granted, as economists, you'd say we externalize the costs. So plastics, we thought we could just dump them in the oceans and it'll be fine. We don't pay a price. Carbon, we think we can pump out as much as we can and we weren't going to pay a price. Well, that's because we externalized those costs and no one was paying for it. The reality is we were all paying for it. And now we're beginning to see that with plastics in fish that people are consuming, building up in ourselves, plastics building up in whales and dolphins and other creatures. But also with carbon, of course, we're beginning to see the weather changing because of the climate crisis. And I think we're beginning to understand that wider environment is critical for us. And whales and dolphins can be that gateway, I think, for people to understand that ability to protect a wider environment. And that's what we're beginning to find. And we hope more people will understand as we go forward.
And it's again to reiterate it, it's a great privilege and pleasure of Curve Games to have an association with a partnership with WDC. And if you've watched today's stream and you feel compelled to donate to WDC, please do via the URL that's at the bottom of the page there, tiltify.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC. But before we go, Chris, is there any sort of overall message that you'd like to tell somebody watching at home who may haven't been previously aware of WDC or your efforts or anything like that?
Thanks, Colin. Look, we're a small, lean international organization. We have various places and individuals around the world, but we tend to try and stay lean because we want to maximize the money that we get from our supporters. Remembering it's not our money, it's their money. They give it to us in trust, and then we are seeking to apply it in the best and wisest ways we can. But the commitment from WDC is if you find yourself in a position to support us, we're incredibly grateful. We will make that money work really hard for these remarkable creatures. And these whales and dolphins now are opening up the eyes of business, of individuals, of governments to really understand how to engage with the wider world. And all those things we thought we knew about whales and dolphins 30 years ago, it turns out a large number of them are right. The science is proving that they are essential to the health of the ocean. And it turns out the ocean is essential to our long-term health as species and as individuals. So look, WDC, we will work hard to try and make any support go as far as possible and work it as hard as possible. And you have a committed group of individuals and teams here of folks who committed their lives to making this happen. But we only can do it with the support of the public and the support of companies like Curve who stand in partnership with us. And it's a real privilege. And to be working with companies like Curve, it's great to see the vision and the essence of the team that we've met through Curve and similar companies. And it always gives us hope. I mean, it gives us hope. And that, at the end of the day, is what we're on about. You know, it can feel like the world is turning upside down, but there is always hope. And there are people who are willing to fight for that hope. And together, I think we can achieve amazing things.
Most definitely, most definitely. So, yeah, once again, tiltify.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC. Please donate. After this stream, you can donate up until the end of Jingle Jam, which is next Tuesday, I believe, off the top of my head. So yeah, please, if you can donate, please do. It's an excellent cause and one that Curve is very proud to call a partner, and a cause that Curve very much gets behind. So yeah, go donate. I won't say what Bob Geldof said in the 80s, but go to that URL and donate to WDC. Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you very much for regaling me and the viewers at home with stories of the work that WDC does, and where the money that people donate, where that goes to as well, because I think that is so important. And for telling us that whales and dolphins, they like to have fun. That's something as well, as I say, I'll definitely take away from today. So yeah, thank you very much, Chris. I have been Colin, one of Curve's community managers. Again, if you've enjoyed this, please do go to tilfy.com/@curvegames/Jingle Jam WDC and donate what you can. And that's about it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much, Chris. And we will see you again soon. Please donate. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye, all.